What's up, everybody? So, on this week's episode of Josh Talks, we got Sam's Raps. Round of applause. Round of applause. Thank you for being here, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. So, let's just start from the beginning because I don't think I know your full story just because social media is so quick, right? So, I don't know
Mhm.
the full story of Sam's Raps. That's why I love doing these interviews, find out about you guys, what you got going on, where you came from, how you started. So, let's just start there.
Sure. Yeah. Kind of quick synopsis. I kind of come from more of a traditional writing background. My first college went there to pursue creative writing. I kind of have always been super interested in poetry, and I wanted to kind of go down that path and either become a full-fledged writer myself, or be a professor or something in that kind of vein. Ended up transferring colleges my sophomore year, and the school that I ended up at SUNY Cortland did not have a creative writing program.
Hmm.
They had a professional writing track and an English track. I chose the English track first because I was like thinking that that was the writing intensive one, but it was actually all reading. So I went to about a week of classes. They were like, "We're going to read all these books," and I was like, "I don't want to read. I want to write." So I switched out of that pretty quickly. Went into the professional writing track, which was great. They're teaching you kind of more practical skills for making money through writing and how to
Hmm.
apply it to like the digital writing world, and how to do technical writing and kind of stuff like that. Basically, the backbone of that degree, I would say, is learning how to infiltrate new discourse communities, like figure out how they speak to each other, learn their jargon, and then be able to like learn that fast enough that you can speak about it as an expert rather quickly, which helps me a lot when I'm like writing blogs and I'm researching new topics, stuff like that. But throughout that process, I ended up taking a couple of hip hop courses and then a survey of African American music course. And I had always, really liked hip hop. I was super into it even up to that point, and I just wanted to know more about it. And a lot of those projects centered around, writing our own raps and coming up with our own music videos and stuff like that. So that kind of gave me the bug for writing raps, where I had done it before just to kind of work on meter and my poetry and all that kind of stuff. But I found that it was offering me the ability to be a little bit more myself than I was in poetry. Like I felt in poetry, I always had to be super serious and,
Hmm.
speaking about capital T truth and all of that kind of stuff. And, I really like to bring out truth from talking about the mundane as it is, but still I felt like it was more serious than I am with my internal dialogue, where I like to do that stuff, but I also like to be funny and like biting and witty and stuff like that. So I feel like it
Right.
was able to get that kind of balance. And, I started getting into guys like Milo and Elucid and guys who are able to kind of toe that line a bit better. So I just kind of, was going down that path, 4 or 5 years where I was just writing stuff for myself, recording into my voice memos on my phone, off of YouTube beats and stuff like that. Then there was like a blank thought. I don't know if you've seen his stuff, but he's a producer
Mhm.
in kind of the music Twitter community. He put out a tweet being like, "Does anybody have acapellas?" And I had a bunch because I was just recording them into my phone. So I sent a couple over to him. He was like, "Yeah, there's potential here, but you're kind of like all over the place. You're not really on a certain BPM. Like it's tough for me to build a beat around this."
Oh,
So
okay.
we ended up kind of continued working together, and I, ended up sending him some stuff that I recorded on a beat, so it was more what he needed for
Yeah.
that kind of project. And ultimately that kind of fell through, but it parlayed itself into us working on a project together, which is still in progress. I just
Okay.
feel like, as I've been developing, um, everything that I put out is way better than what I did a year ago. So I don't necessarily want to release the stuff that I recorded then, but it was a great place to start.
Mm.
Then from there, just kind of got ingratiated into the music Twitter community, found Uggy's Sauce World Discord,
Yeah.
and everything kind of took off from there. Where I got involved with a bunch of those people, and they really were super helpful in giving me a lot of advice on how to improve my delivery, my voice and all that stuff. Because the writing has always been there, but actually delivering it has always been the difficult part. So there's been a lot of stuff that I've gotten to learn through, guys like Uggy and Spark the Philly and Coffee Bee and all those kind of people.
Yeah, I'm kind of like slowly starting to learn about all you guys more just through this podcast, even
Mm.
obviously on the timeline, but then like the more people I see interacting with him and like Maddie and Philly, it's just kind of like this rabbit hole. And now being in the server myself, like the last week, I don't know if you saw. Maddie's tweet about she's all about me dropping music in there and just
Yeah,
that was so funny. I texted her right after and she's like, dude, I'm kidding. I'm like, I know. I just like it's
yeah.
just it's just funny. Like it's all funny to me. Like I don't take any of that stuff seriously. Like 90% of the stuff I come across on the internet, I'm like, okay, it's jokes. And I try to look at it as jokes or else I will get offended and I'll be like, oh no, like because I think was it you in the chat who dropped the thing about like where to drop music and stuff? Who was it in
Hmm.
the Discord?
Yeah,
It
it's
was
me.
you, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
welcome everybody.
And
Yeah,
so I was like, that's, I think I even said it on the tweet. I was like, that's so funny because I didn't do that until I was told that there was a space for that because I didn't even know.
yeah,
Like, that's how often I
yeah.
use Discord, bro. Um, and so, yeah, so I dropped it and then she made that joke and I was like, okay. And then I couldn't retweet her because she's private. So I had to screenshot
Right.
her and then tag her because for me, if I'm tagging people, it's all fun. Like that's what I love the internet to be is just a fun place to have a good time with friends. Like that's all I ever wanted on Twitter. So like you guys are a super tight knit community and just being introduced to you guys and through the interviews and stuff, it's cool to see what you've built and developed so far. I don't know how long you've been a part of the community or how long the server has even been a thing, but it's just cool to see like you guys are all very supportive of each other
Yeah,
regardless.
it's been awesome. I mean, a lot of those guys have been doing this a lot longer than me, so there's always stuff to learn. And I was kind of one of the first people being like, "Can we have a dedicated space for like feedback? Because that's what I need the most
Oh,
of, not just sharing. I don't just want to share final products with you guys. I want to learn from you." And that
yeah,
was super
yeah.
helpful getting everybody's different input too. Like, some people come at it from a different perspective as others, so it's always nice to get a variety of things to work with.
Did you guys start with the whole like engagement groups on Twitter, like the big group chats in the DMs? Is that how you guys all kind of met?
That's not how I got introduced to it. I'm not sure about everybody else, but it was kind of towards the end of the year, and Uggy was doing this like big thread on Twitter where people would send him stuff
Oh,
and he was giving them feedback like in real time as he listened to it. And I was kind of like hooked on watching that because he was giving types of feedback that I had never seen people give before.
hmm.
Um, and so I was just kind of following that. And then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, he put out a tweet being like, if anybody wants to join the Sauce World Discord, like, reply to this or shoot me a DM or something.
Ah, okay, okay.
And I replied being like, yeah, I'll join. I didn't even expect anything to come from it because, I just figured he has a big platform. He doesn't know who the hell I am. He's not going to let me in. And then he immediately like sent me a link to it. I joined and I got that welcome message and I felt like super welcomed and everything. So that's why I always do it for everybody else now.
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, I was like, I just couldn't tell if it's just like that's just standard practice in the server or if like it just depends on if you guys capture all the new people coming in, just like, oh, here's a welcome message. So
Yeah,
it
that's
was
like my
cool.
dedicated job. So they'll always at me if I don't respond when somebody joins immediately. They'll at me and be like, "Sam's welcome him."
Dude, it's hard to keep up. Like ever since
Yeah,
you
yeah.
put that tweet out there about me just spamming my music and then disappearing, I've been
Mm,
trying to jump in more, but I'm just like, dude, I don't know what it is about me. Like it's just been 4 years of this constant barrage of notifications and tweets and I'm like, I love everyone. I do. I just, it's for me, when I add a new app to my phone, especially when it's got a social aspect like that, I'm like, it's just more work for me to do in terms of like relationships with people. That's why I like using Twitter the way I do, where it's like, oh, yo, like you with you, right? Like, hey, notice that you're part of this. You're getting some good interaction. Like, what's up? Let's talk. Um,
mm.
just because it's cool to see. I mean, there's a lot of people, and you will see it. I don't know how long you've been active on Twitter, but a lot of people just come and go. Like
Yeah,
they they'll be super consistent for a long period of time, and then you'll be like, wait a minute, what the heck happened to so
yeah,
right? Or they'll come back to like after 6 months or a few months or whatever. But that's why I think the things like Discord are super cool and useful because it takes things off platform. You get to know people better, and then I noticed I was talking to Maddie about her street side stanzas, right, on Wednesday
mm,
nights.
yeah,
I think last night she couldn't make it because she had a bunch of work to catch up on. But like even that, like I want to come by and check it out and just see what's up. Like it almost feels like virtual shows is like the way it feels, like a
yeah,
show that you could go to in real life to support friends, except on the internet, which is
yeah.
I think that's awesome. That's probably one of the
I
best
like that we
come from COVID.
we kind of like, I like that there's a mix of different ways that we engage in those kind of things too. Like her street side standards thing kind of brings me back to my writing roots, where it's like
Mhm.
a writing workshop environment where you're getting, you know,
Mhm.
critical feedback from people and you get to share your poetry and stuff like that.
Right.
Not a lot of other people really write poetry. They'll typically just share their bars or whatever, but you know, I have a backlog of poems, so I'm always sharing stuff in there. um, but
So
you know, even besides that, like every Friday night after Uggie's show, Uggie needs backup, we'll
yeah.
do like a after party in the tea house in Discord where we all just hop in and like we'll talk to whoever was the guest and that kind of stuff. There have been nights where we just hop in there and like watch movies together, or we stream Kill Tony and stuff like that. So
Mm,
it's nice that it's kind of laid back. We get to, you know, meet each other more like this, kind of face to face, and
yeah.
a lot more
Yeah.
personal level.
Yeah. And it's not recorded. So you guys
Yeah,
can
yeah.
there's always like a precedent with recordings, I feel like. It's like we're not trying to be different than who we are. It's just we're conscious of the fact that this is going to be shown elsewhere to other people, you know?
Yeah, you got to filter it a little bit.
Yeah, sadly. Sadly. Anyways, so you've been recording yourself. We'll say, okay, so it started from the phone, but in terms of like a home studio setup, recording yourself, putting out music for how long?
That's about a year this month. Yeah, like last March is when I started.
So it seems like I don't know if it's a theme within like the Sauce World Discord, but it seems like Maddie was telling me on her interview that I want to say it's like 9 months or something. She's been really focused on this, and
Yeah.
now she's taking the plunge full time. But is are a lot of people in that Discord like newer to recording themselves, or some of them more like vets? Or I know Uggie's probably been doing it for a minute, but I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a range. You know, there are I'm probably one of the younger people in the server.
Hmm.
There are a few people younger than me who I don't know how long they've been recording. They could very well have been doing it longer than I have, but
Yeah.
you know, guys like Sparky and Uggy and Coffee, you know, they've been recording stuff for years. They've had other projects and other artist names and all that kind of stuff. So
Oh,
I'd
okay.
say
I
by
know.
and large, people are pretty established, but there are some newer folks in there, and there were more when I joined, but you know, they've since fallen off or whatever.
Mhm. Has anything at this point turned to like monetization for you, like features or anything like that? Or is it still just kind of building the framework and the groundwork?
I did get my first paid feature like last month, so that's the only
Oh, you
rap money
finished,
I've ever
right?
made. But
Yeah.
it was cool to have somebody put value on my work like that.
Price goes up for sure after that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's happened a couple times for me, and it's always so random. Like the first thing I ever put out a couple years ago in terms of recording myself, it's been almost 3 years now, but it was the first snippet I ever shared. And one of my boys on Twitter was just like, bro, how much for a feature? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, how much for it? I was like, $50. And ever since then it's built, and it happened when I was in LA recently too. And I was with my friend who was a rapper, and I was like, $250. And they're like, sold. And I was like, what? He's paying it?
Hell yeah.
Crazy. I think that was D Money. Like I'd never interacted with him before, and he just came business straight up. And I was like, and he's been so supportive before and after that point, I feel like, which is cool.
Word.
But those moments are cool. Like the self belief for sure, like goes up when people want to pay you for your work, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was definitely affirming in that way. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I spent a long time kind of away from the page and not feeling very good about my work and all that kind of stuff. So it's been great to get back into it and get the kind of feedback that I'm getting.
Mm-hmm. Have you been producing at all yourself, or are you working with producers?
Yeah, I'm just working with producers. I played instruments growing up, but you know, for like a year at a time, so I don't have much of a background in it. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it would take me a lot longer to get to the quality that I can get from other people for a decent price. So I would much rather work with people who can do it at a professional level.
Mm-hmm. Are you like doing the whole leasing thing, or are you just kind of like working with people who support the sound and want to move forward?
A little of both, I would say. By and large, it's been just like buying beats off of people,
Oh wow.
or you know, I'm getting beats
The old
from.
school way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, it's kind of started out with just seeing what snippets people drop on the timeline, and they're like, you know,
Okay.
if
So
anybody
you're
wants
always
any of these beats,
looking
let
and
me
checking
know.
stuff out to see if there's a sound you like.
Yeah, and then you know, beyond that, since I got involved with Sauce World, I got to work with Sparky and you know those kind of people getting featured on Coffee's album and stuff like that. So there's a
Yeah.
mix of things.
And are you noticing like the monthly listeners going up from like the community being formed? Has there been like a correlation, or is it just kind of like a slow burn?
It's tough to say because I've only dropped one song on my Spotify so far,
And then you have
and
the thing
everything
with
else is
Smart,
like,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's
I
tough
think
to
there's a way
say.
to
I
link
I
those
dropped that
too.
single. There is because when I was pursuing that other um, EP, that collaborative EP, I had set it up as both of us as the artists,
Hmm.
and it was linked to each of our Spotify pages. It was a pain in the ass to go through like Spotify support and DistroKid support and get it done, but it can. It is possible.
It, I don't know why, but it just, you know what it is I think there's two things going on. More features are being released for all of us artists in terms of streaming, like with all these like collaborative efforts that we can do on streaming platforms now. And then that's on our end, right? We're always wanting to do more, and then the streaming platforms are always trying to keep up with the demand, and they're just like my last release was trash. Like I've never had an issue with the release up until this one, and I've been releasing
Yeah,
for 2.5 years. And so, yeah, I there's lots of ins and outs to learn, but I think you're doing it well. It seems like you're building a strong community around it, and everybody's supporting regardless. I like to think of views and stuff on videos for songs as streams too, honestly. Like
yeah, for sure.
views and interaction and everything. Like in my eyes, that's way more important than, of course, if I could translate somebody to streaming, that's great. But if they're watching on these platforms where I have a following, that's a win to me too. I don't see that as like any less relevant than a stream.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, at the end of the day, I started doing this just to kind of get my stuff out there and see what people think about it. So the fact that people are interacting with it and
Mm-hmm.
whether they like it or not, on Twitter, people like it. I post it on TikTok and every 14-year-old calls me trash. So, I don't really care. I just care that people are seeing it.
That's the social media game. We're just trying to get eyes on our music, right? At the end of the day, or eyes on our brand. So I think you're doing it well. I mean, I guess this interview is proof too, just by if I wouldn't have seen you, then I wouldn't have known to reach out, right?
Yeah,
It's
no
like
doubt.
you share pretty often, I feel like.
Yeah, I've been trying to do more, as I've had Uggy's post notifications on, which maybe isn't a great model to look at because he's always tweeting, but I like to see the consistency with which he'll post visual content and try to like it makes me feel like,
Oh,
damn,
you're
I
trying
need
to
to be doing
emulate.
more because he's always putting out new shit and it's really well produced, like it's well shot, it's edited cleanly. So it
Hmm.
always makes me feel like I gotta be working harder on the content front.
I'm sure he's always got something going in his head in terms of videos and ideas, and it seems like he's just constantly cranking out stuff. And I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know where he came from. I just want to say it was like around maybe 4 or 5 months ago. I just started seeing him and another guy named Ugo um, in Uggy on the timeline and Ugo in my mentions, and I was like, wait, who are these? And then I was like paying more attention. Um, I
Yeah.
think it was through Maddie for sure that I found Uggy, and it's just cool to see what they've built in the community. Um, it's kind of like something I always wanted to do back in the day, like in 2011 when Odd Future was big on Twitter. Like I just always wanted
Yeah.
to for friends to just talk to on the internet, and like I guess that's what I kind of see you guys doing. And things like this have come and gone, but I feel like you guys have at least right now the strongest support group behind it. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, it seems like a decent core of people who are pretty solid and aren't really
Mhm.
going anywhere for the time being anyway.
Yeah, and things. I mean, whatever things happen, people come and go. But I mean, like Uggy's never gonna stop pushing his stuff, regardless. Like you can just tell,
Right.
you know. And like all you guys are kind of coming up, and it's like I can kind of see like something like that out of you. Like you're gonna from this, like regardless of what happens at the end of the day, you're still gonna share your stuff. Like you're gonna share your music,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of getting
Yeah,
a
no doubt.
platform at this point, which is
Yeah,
cool.
I mean,
You guys are
regardless of
coming
where
up
it
quick.
goes with the whole community, it's been an invaluable experience for me. I got
Yeah.
to learn at an exponential rate that I would have, it would have taken me a lot longer to get to where I am now if I was just figuring it out for myself.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's cool. I had my thing like that back in the day, I think in 2020 was like the engagement groups and all the producers and artists
Mm.
being thrown in these chats on Twitter, and everyone sharing and supporting and then finding like who you like through there and then building with those people. I think I did 50 collaborative songs that are on Spotify still to this day because of all of that.
Damn.
And that was just for the love. Like I wasn't making any money with music or anything back then. And then it was through my guitar melodies, giving them away for free. People started asking me to make custom ones for them. And they were like, how
Oh,
much do you
gotcha.
charge? And once again, another one of those moments where I think I was working with my dad on a rooftop doing a side job for air conditioning. And I was like, Dad, like they're asking me how much money for this. And he's like, say $50 a loop. And I was like, oh, sure, sounds great. And it just built from there for customs and things like, the more you do it, the better you get, the more it goes up. But it's cool to see guys like you, man. Like I just in my eyes, you guys all come out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, what? They're like the new kids on the block, kind of. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you guys are just taking over Twitter, is what it seems like at this point. And it's I don't know how many members are even in that server. It's crazy.
I can take a look here. I think it's a lot. There aren't that many people who are frequently active, but
It seems like a solid
there's
20 that are super
a lot of
active.
people in there.
Probably a
Yeah, I
couple
mean,
hundred at this point. I think the link is in Maddie's bio at this,
it is 76 plus 17, so
like
like
90,
90, 92, 93.
and then a solid like 10 or 20 people that are keeping it active, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, there are probably 10 people who check in at least once a day.
And then there's me every other day right now. So,
Just to drop your links and then leave.
what's so funny about that? It's more so like in the engagement groups back in the day. I was so consistent with producing every day and making an edit for my beats every day.
Mhm.
This is before I was recording myself, so I was just making beats and guitar stuff at the time. So I would post something every single night when COVID hit, um, in the group chats, and like there were some people who wouldn't interact with my stuff, but in the group chat they'd be like, "Hey, man, respect to the consistency. Like you are just nonstop." Because I just had time on my hands, like a lot of us
Yeah.
did, right? So that's what kind of snowballed into like, oh, you do guitar, oh, how much for this, oh, how much for that, and the business grew from there. But it was always super organic. The tweets that you see me doing now, like the engagement tweets or whatever, like I've been doing this stuff since Facebook 2011, just asking questions to the internet. And that was
Mhm.
always just organic for me. But like the music, it's funny because then there's those people, oh, you don't make music. It's like, well, I mean, you can go to my page and like my pinned music video, like you can go to my media tab and scroll for like 20 seconds, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I make music. I understand. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you post beats pretty frequently.
yeah, and like you can kind of tell when I'm in album mode because there'll be a whole lot of nothing on the timeline music related because I'm working on stuff.
Hmm.
Now I'm trying to get better
Yeah,
at
yeah.
doing live while I'm working on songs to give more insight to the process. But yeah, I like those drums. I don't play them, and my guitars, they're just for show. And my years of experience playing guitar, that's all a lie. And I haven't produced off and on for 10 years. Yeah, all this money I spend on gear, it's just for fun. Like I just liked having a Kai sitting here collecting dust. Like, oh, it's like believe what you want on the internet, but and then there's gonna be plenty of, oh, you just do a podcast. Like, okay,
Hmm.
like that's all right. Like you believe what you want. I can't convince anybody. I just post.
No, I feel that.
Um,
Yeah.
but no. So at this point, like, is it something? Are you trying to transition into full time with this, or like, what's the you got the 9 to 5 going, or
Yeah, I mean, I work a 9 to 5.
okay,
I work in marketing. I have for
cool,
several years. I'm a copywriter, so it's a lot of writing blogs and emails and stuff like that. I'm also the SEO specialist at my company, so I do a lot of stuff on the back end with that, monitoring our SEO data and optimizing our landing pages and all that kind of stuff. But I think it would be nice to make it a full time thing, but it would have to generate me more capital than
yeah.
my day job, which is a long road to climb right now. But it's I'm not going to stop doing it
Where are you living?
in Cincinnati.
Nice, Ohio. Shout out to 21 Pilots. Um,
Hell yeah.
bro, I've been listening to them since 2011, 2012. Also, it's
Yeah,
wild.
it's been a long time.
They are huge. They're one of my favorite. They're still one of my favorite bands. I can't lie. I still listen to when they drop. But um okay, so you're trying to get like if you could, you would, but you're not tripping on it as far as full-time music.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately I want to be able to provide a secure life for me and my partner. So
Yeah.
if music isn't really going to be the road to that, that's fine. I'm happy to keep doing this as a side project or have it make some ancillary income for me. But I'm not trying to press too hard to leave my job right now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just want to get better as an artist and put out dope shit.
Have you noticed like so it seems like you know a bit about SEO and marketing and stuff. Have you noticed that transition into your music and help you like grow faster? Because all that stuff is big. Well, SEO and stuff is pretty big on like YouTube and stuff, not so much Twitter, I'd say. Um,
Mm.
but have you taken any of those skills and applied it to your artistry and the marketing side of things?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that applies to TikTok. That a lot of their stuff is SEO driven as far as like what your
Mm-hmm.
caption is and what the actual text on the video is and how do you choose your hashtags and all that kind of stuff. That's all analytic driven. Not that I've had any videos perform particularly well, but it is something that I try to consider.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Do your
Beyond that, I mean, I would like to try YouTube a little more and get more involved with their SEO algorithm because it is a little bit different than Google, which is the one that I'm most familiar with. So I
It's
think
funny
like
because
my
they're owned by Google.
I know it's so weird, but I've been following Amar Monroe for a while, and he always talks about how important it is to have a website as an artist and like having that in lieu of a link tree in your bio. So I
Mhm.
think that's probably like the next
Yeah.
marketing step that I think like using my SEO skills would help me generate some reach. But I agree with you that Twitter is a more difficult one to navigate because they kind of eliminated like hashtags limit your reach, putting links in anything limits your reach pretty extensively. So it's a tricky one, but I'm trying to figure out, how to do it the best of my ability.
It's wild because hashtags, as far as my knowledge and what I've read on the internet, which could be totally a lie, but what I read was that hashtags were made on Twitter and they were
Hmm.
made for categorization. The person who made hashtags did it so that people could categorize their tweets. Um,
Hmm.
and now it's to the point where if you put it in at all, any types of hashtags, whenever I copy my Instagram captions over to Twitter, I always take the hashtags out because I feel like it just hurts the reach or it looks really ugly
Yeah, it does.
because nobody
No,
does
I
it.
mean, that's something I've been trying to, the girl who runs social media at my job. First of all, everybody in my marketing sphere, like on the corporate side of things, is under the impression that Twitter is basically dead. That like nobody goes on Twitter. It's not a worthwhile avenue for promotion, all of that kind of stuff.
Isn't it
That
wild?
aside, I'm the one who edits all the posts. So whenever she sends me stuff for Instagram, I do the exact same thing as you. I cut out all the hashtags, cut out the links. I've been trying to teach her like, how to use a thread more effectively or just a quote tweet or something, or, how can you get
Yeah.
a link in there without necessarily having it affect your reach.
It's um it's interesting because I think I haven't tried this myself, not that I remember, but like for example, if you search a topic, I think the tweets that will pop up will have those words in the tweet. So I don't even
Yeah.
think the hashtag is necessary anymore. Um, I think they've integrated it into the words. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like that at this point. Um, but yeah, bro, I'm happy to get 20 likes on Instagram, honestly. Like
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
like which is fine. I'm not going to play their ad game. I'm not going to throw money at their stuff unless I have like something I'm really trying to push song-wise. That might be different. But then I'm hearing
Mhm.
stories where people are having their reach limited when they stop paying for ads. Like it's even worse than before they paid for ads. So I'm just like, I don't know, dude. I've Organic has always
Yeah.
been super simple and important to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I like to focus on the most at my job and, with my music stuff. The
Mhm.
paid stuff is great. It can be an effective way to get your stuff boosted quickly. But
Mhm.
to your point, it can also hurt you if you stop that money train going.
Yeah.
Especially, it seems to me, having spent some time on TikTok now, one of their main drivers is to get you to promote your stuff. I feel like an ad comes up for using TikTok promote like every 5 TikToks for me.
Oh my gosh. And that in the shop and which is fine. Like I'm not even mad at the shop, honestly. I'm more mad at the quality of the products from the shop, but I'm not gonna knock people for getting their TikTok money. Like I've made plenty of money off of social media. So But that was all through organic conversations and reach and sales in the DMs. It's just what it was, when I'd come out
Yep.
with kits or follow up with clients for mixing work or whatever, anything that was always conversation. It was never like me running ads, picking up clients. Because I think the best I've heard from any of my marketing clients back in the day is they were seeing a one-on-one return from like Facebook ads and stuff like that. So could be different on Twitter. I'm sure if I wanted to start throwing $100 into marketing on Twitter, in addition to the $20 I spend to be on the platform, to get these videos uploaded, like,
Yeah.
sure. But also the focus of mine now is really transitioning to real life artists and playing shows again and building out, the studio and getting people in the door. Because this all started during quarantine, but we are so far from that at this point. It's been 4 years. Like, I I just, there's no reason to not just fully fledged take the studio to the next level. So that's kind of the focus. But it's cool to keep my eye on the internet and see what people are doing and the movements that are being created, because it would be super cool to see you guys take what you're doing like on the road. And I'm sure somebody
Yeah.
else, if hasn't already started talking about that, like, let's play shows, let's get something going. Because the community, I've seen a few guys, there's these guys named Kill Me Lord on Twitter. It's I think it's Geist, and it's a guy named Vlad started it, and they've done like some like producer house things and shows, and it's super cool to see internet go to real life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's dope. I mean, that's probably my most attainable, like short-ish term goal is like to do stuff in person. I think the internet stuff is great, but like if I actually do want to make any money off of this, I'm either going to have to be a really good salesman and get a bunch of features going, or start playing shows or do something like with physical life because that's where the real money is at. So it's cool to see people do that kind of stuff, even with like, I don't know if you're tapped into like Patty Honcho and Black Chidori and those guys, but they do this show called Scaring the Hose in New York, and that seems to be like a really cool experience. They have a bunch of Twitter rappers,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call them, like come out, and they even started having producers do sets. Well, they'll do like beat sets and
Oh,
stuff like that.
cool.
They'll just charge like $20 a head at the door and help that pay for the
Yeah,
space.
that's always the way, to do it. Because I'm starting to think about shows in my town where I'm from and how to make that lucrative and successful. And I think at the end of the day, it's door sales and it's bar sales are like what
Mm,
makes it lucrative for any type of promoter to even keep it going. Because I've been doing this for so long. I'm just kind of like, I'm just looking, how can you pivot? How can you make even more off of this? What are things that I haven't done that I can do in the industry to help people on the internet and then help put on people in real life? So and there's always logistics and drama with anything you do. There's always going to be people who get, hurt feelings and ego, but I can't control that. I can only do my best to put on for the city. And this is where I came up as a 15-year-old in my band for 6 years. Was in this city, and just kind of progressing things. I'm always looking to push the needle, and then I'm just like, okay, great, that's fantastic, but how can I also live off this too? Because you can only do it for the love for so long.
yeah.
I've
Yeah.
already started charging for podcast slots because I'm like, I love doing this, but there's plenty of people who I don't have any type of relationship with, aren't on my radar, that want a platform. You can use my
Mm,
platform, but it's not going to be for free, um, because it's just been 5 years of just grinding this out for 42,000 followers, which is great. But, it's everybody just wants a handout, and I don't. And Jesus said, you always have the poor with you. So, um,
yeah, no, it makes sense.
but yeah, I think what you're doing is great. It's super cool to see. And I just want to see what the next step is for all of it. Because I'm in my head, I'm always like, what's next? What's the next thing?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no doubt.
you guys are all super
I mean,
successful.
I'm not super like familiar, I guess, with the trajectory of an underground artist. Like, how do you get from where I'm at to like Milo level or somebody like that? Right. But
You
I
just
am super tapped into like,
start.
yeah, I guess so. I'm super tapped into like the stand up comedy scene. So I guess
Yeah.
like it is
Yeah.
a similar
It's a
road, and it's,
similar trajectory and route. You just start working the circuit and start getting some shirts made, start getting some
mm,
CDs made and seeing what sells, what does. It's such a testing period with all of that stuff. But it's real and viable. And I have friends to this day who've 15 years now, like full-time rapper, has been touring, like got their start was crazy. Like I'm not sure if you're familiar with like ICP and stuff. Um
A little
but
bit.
this was back in the day, somebody was playing his music in the office of one of the, not ICP, but one of the other artists, and
Mm.
like somebody overheard it, was like, who is that? Called him up and was like, you want to go on tour? We got an opening slot. Like, you fit the sound. And things like that happen, but not until like you're just constantly like out there meeting people, getting your music in front of people's eyes, in their, now in their cars it's easy because streaming, but um it happens. But the real physical life aspect of playing shows, and I've done one as a rapper, so I have that much experience. But I have a bunch,
Yeah.
bands and stuff. I've done a few as a rapper, but anyways, it's just very different. Like when you take your stuff to the people, see how the crowd's feeling it. Of course, it's nice to have 5 or 10 friends there to like hype you up, but then everybody
Mm.
else, they don't know you, and all their first impression is your music, and it's like, this is great. However, I'm terrified, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
how are they gonna accept this, right? But you just get up there, do your thing, play the best show you can, and then you just meet people after and spend an hour talking, getting to know people who are there, and that's how you build network. That's how you build fan base. And you'll have people who are, oh, bro, I'll buy a $20 shirt, like no worries. So it's, for me, the quality is always the issue of the merch for myself,
Mm.
not for other
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So I'm always like, I need a certain quality shirt. It's got to look like this. It's got to feel like this, because I'm so into clothing, and I want a clothing brand more than I want a brand with my Josh Crespo logo on it. Like I have no interest in that.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I know what you mean. I was
but
watching your interview with Uggy. You were talking about the quality of the Timu shirts and how poor they were.
oh my God.
Like
Hey,
they're
thank you for
Shinobu threads, and I
watching.
can
Thank
respect
you
it.
for watching. Yeah.
I was trying to do my homework.
Yeah, no, it's just such a, like, at the end of the day, like, I want to wear what I make. Like, I want to be fully comfortable in everything that I'm doing. So it's just a matter of like getting to that quality, because I can do print on demand, but
Hmm.
I just haven't found any print on demand that doesn't feel like a shirt that's gonna like rip the second that you wash it. Like, I'm just,
Yeah.
and even the Supreme stuff, like, yeah, I talk good about like Supreme's quality t-shirts, but I'm really talking about their older stuff, not their newer stuff. Like, this new stuff, like, kind of trash. Like, what where's the quality? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. But as an artist and producer, it's always in the forefront of my mind, is to give a quality experience to the listener. And I think you do that. I think you do it well.
Yeah.
And you're presenting yourself well, and it's cool to just see, like you're talking about, like the underground scene. Like, I guess we're all kind of underground, I guess, because none of us are signed to labels. Like, we're all
Yeah. Yeah.
independent artists. We're all on the same like team here, if you want to see it that way. And it's just cool to see what you guys are doing. I think it's awesome. um so do you have desire to play shows anytime soon, or?
Yeah. I mean, that would be awesome. I'm not sure like how you go about setting that up and all that stuff. I've gone to one open mic so far and got up on stage
How
to
was
do my
that?
stuff, and that was really fun. I mean, it was interesting because a lot of the people that showed up, I guess, were more like inclined to country music and that kind of stuff. And I was super nervous. I'd done like poetry slams before and stuff like that, where
Oh
I read
yeah.
my stuff off of my phone or whatever, but it was different, having to perform and actually, keep my breath control and all that kind of stuff.
Memorize.
Um, but it was received pretty well, and people were, laughing when they were supposed to laugh. They were, responding to it the way that I anticipated them responding to it. So yeah, it was cool. I mean, I was super nervous before I went up, but then I saw a couple people go before me, and I was like, all right, I could do better than that. Like, I got this.
My dad used to always tell me growing up, he's all, try to go first for like group projects or like whatever.
Mm.
Like, try to go first so you set the precedent for the room, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes, in music it's opposite. You want to be the last person because then you're the headliner, but then it could be midnight and there's nobody in the venue. So
right.
even your friends might leave at that point. That's
Yep,
awesome.
yep,
That's cool
for
though.
sure.
But how did you talk to people? Was there feedback, or
A couple people came up to me and were like, "Yeah, nice set, man," stuff like that. I
the
didn't really
demographic was
talk to
pretty
that.
country though?
Yeah, it was mostly country people. There was one other guy who showed up to rap. He was more like trap, melodic rap type
Oh,
stuff.
oh, he went for it. He was opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah, yeah. So I wasn't necessarily in my lane. I was gonna like get his socials or whatever, but that's definitely the part that I need to work on is like being sociable because I'm
Go
such a
like chill,
recluse
get a
that I
beer
don't
after,
I
and just hang
struggle.
out, do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, my girl was there. I went
Yeah,
over to her and my buddy from work came to support and I just kind of said what's up to him, dapped him
yeah,
up, and then me and my girl went home. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I gotta be better
That's the
about
hardest
networking.
thing to do as like an artist is to like we would always get so frustrated as kids when like the headline act would like they'd be in the front when everyone else was playing, they'd play their show and then like just dip right out. I'm not saying you dip right after your set or anything. It's just like
Hmm.
I always want everybody to support everybody because we're all trying to play our music and show love to everyone, right? But I guess not
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
same heart as me. So it's like that's cool though, man. You got out there and did it. That's awesome. That's all that
Yeah, it
matters.
was exciting.
Like you're just cutting your teeth, so to speak, right?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to get back up there. I feel like I've progressed a lot since then and learned a lot more about how to be myself on the mic and not be so timid. I was more worried about getting the words correct than actually rapping.
Did you do it without your vocals in the track?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you did it the real way. Hot
It's the
take.
only way.
I know, I know. No, you're right. See, I have a show in a month, and I would love to be able to do it all without the words in the track. And honestly, if I keep practicing this new album, then I'll be able to do that. And I have all the files fresh. I can just easily remove my vocals out and just put the instrumentals. But respect for that. That's a big deal. Is that what? How long ago was that?
That was at the end of last year, probably like November or
Okay.
October. It was like right after I joined Sauce World.
Okay. So you posted footage from that and everything.
Yeah, I put up like one video from it. I didn't want to spoil too much because I was doing all the songs that are going to be on that Blank Thought project. But yeah, I put up one that I was really proud of, kind of like the first thing that I had written, and I really liked it. People were laughing at it, so in a positive way. They weren't they weren't like this is
Oh yeah,
trash,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they were laughing at my jokes and shit.
So that's like your punchlines.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Punchline rap. Would you ever do battle rapping? Does that interest you?
Not really. I mean, I certainly could do it, but I feel like I'm not very confrontational as it is. I'm more interested in like making a pure piece of art than I am talking shit about people. Like
Yeah.
I'll talk my shit in an artful way, but I typically talk my shit just boosting myself rather than being like y'all suck. But there is some of that.
Sometimes, sometimes that's what I want to say to the timeline is y'all suck. Like I don't want to take any. I just want to be like everybody sucks for participating in this
Yeah,
perpetuating
for real.
drama. It's not
That's
one
what I was
sided at all.
no, that's what I was trying to say with my. I put up that word of the day today and some
Did
people thought
you
it was
did you
about them.
subtweet to the timeline?
Well, that's what they were. They felt that it was a
That was the
subtweet or they were questioning it.
interpretation.
And then, yeah, and whatever. So they were like, let me know, is this a subtweet? And I was like, no, like this could apply to either side. I don't take sides. Like I'm just the dictionary.
My man. What was the tweet?
My word of the day.
Yeah.
It was that the word of the day is aggrandize, which means to like basically boost yourself up or your reputation beyond what's factually accurate. And then the example was like, he spends all day on Twitter beefing to aggrandize himself beyond the quality of his product.
Nice. Yeah, got it. Okay. I don't know. I don't know, dude. You know what's wrong with me is I don't pay that much attention to the timeline, so I'll get bits and pieces, and
Mm,
I'll see so and so's like, okay, like no more XYZ, like we're done, like, and I'm like, I don't know, like I can only infer so much. I don't want to go looking because then I'm just like, then I'm just as bad as everybody else, like, and then I want to send my 2 cents and I just like, can we all get along? We all make music. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. I'm not very confrontational. I
No.
just think it's dumb to get involved in that stuff. I was more just trying to call it out for that than say anybody's right or wrong. It's just like, this is dumb. Why are you wasting your time on it? Who cares?
It comes down to a moral conversation that nobody wants to have on the timeline. Like we're just
Mm,
like that's not why we're here. Like that's not what my platform is built on. That's not what people are here for, bro. Like my platform is so one-sided to music that I could say like anything super like personal or out of pocket to some, and people probably would say nothing. There would be a few people like, bro, are you okay? But besides that, most of the people would
mm.
just scroll right past it because it's not music related. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this isn't my journal anymore. This is a platform that I've been given and a responsibility that I have to hold, to a certain standard. It's not just Josh at 21 years old saying, this is why I believe what I believe. It's like, bro, like
Yeah. Yeah.
not 12.
Yeah, you have a platform and like a brand to uphold, but I feel like you do a good job of that. As far as my approximation, like my experience of your brand,
What
I've
you've
always
seen,
seen it,
yeah.
being super positive and music related and just trying to boost everybody up. I haven't seen you get involved in antics and all that kind of stuff.
I said shh last night and I used the shush emoji and I said just stay out of Twitter or stay out of internet beef. Good night. And I used the shush emoji and that was my
Mm.
take for the evening. It's just like, and then I quote tweeted this morning and I said, good morning. I still stand on this. Like, because
Hell
they're
yeah.
still going. Everyone's
Yeah,
still
no, dead
going.
ass. It's
And
been all day with this shit, man.
I do you work from home?
Today I do, yeah.
Yeah, so you literally you're able to be on both fronts, the work side and then have the
Hmm.
Twitter feed popped up and you're like, okay, or the Discord.
Yeah, yeah.
I just it's so easy to get caught up in. Like absolutely consumed by like work doesn't get done. We feel like we're all accomplishing some mission on the internet, changing people's minds and points of view. No, thank you. It's exhausting. Just even the thought of talking about it is exhausting.
Yeah. No, I mean, even, I've been trying to monetize my account. Like all of the reply tweets I've had to do to reach the 5 million impressions. It's like, I'm exhausted by it, dude. I just want to hit it so I can stop worrying about it. No, I don't even think I'm really going to make money off it. It's just like, I
It's
just want
not
to
much,
do it.
dude. It's not. I don't know if you saw the Typathio interview. He was one of the first ones I did with DJ Payne like a few months ago when I
Mm.
restarted again. Started a new season, I should say. But he was doing like $100 every 2 weeks or something. Um, it was something like that. And he was hitting millions of impressions, and he's like, yeah, we get
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little check, but like bro, like I'm in those. Like I'm telling you, dude. I've every single morning or night for the past 4 or 5 years trying to respond to every single person that interacts with my tweets. No, like I don't even do it on weekends no more. Saturdays and Sundays, I
Yeah.
do not click my notifications tab. I wait till Monday. I think I did it Sunday night this week, but like it's a never ending. Now it's that goal of 5 million impressions. I was never hitting that at my peak of like 3 million
Yeah.
impressions a month. And you're going for virality at that point. You're
Hmm.
trying to go viral. What's up to the cat?
Yeah.
What's the cat's name? I gotta ask.
This one's Jade. It's the little girl. She wants some attention right now. It's just about her dinner time.
Come on,
But
Dad, get it
yeah,
together.
the other one's Chester. He's bound to be hanging around here somewhere.
Shout out to Chester. Is that because of Lincoln Park at all, or am I looking too much into that?
It wasn't particularly. We were on the way to go pick him up when he was the first cat we got, and we were just kicking around like, what should his name be? And we were just cycling through stuff, and I said Chester, and she liked it. She was like, that's kind of silly. It's a funny person name, and I was like, all right, bet we'll call him Chester.
You said it. She liked it, so you went with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Made your job easy. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, it's just, bro, playing the impression game is a lot of work. Like, and
Yeah,
it's for a little bit of money. And of course, if you have subscribers, if you're hitting the 5 million tweet mark or impression mark every month, if you have people that are paying for content from you on Twitter for specific things, that's very different. Like, I'm sure it
yeah,
is
yeah.
very easy to hit the 500 to $1,000 passive income mark from Twitter then in that case, but you really, I've never gotten into the subscriber game. I'm just trying to give as much back to the community as possible. It's given to me. That's why I pay $20 a month now to get these full interviews on the platform so you guys can watch all of them. And people have been watching them. So I'm like, cool, job well done. It's working. I just want to give back that much. I'm not super concerned about an ROI on $20, like, because you run yourself ragged
Yeah, no, for sure.
all day long. They're just trying to keep us on their platforms, bro. That's their main goal.
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah. I mean, that's their business model. The more people they can addict to it, the more their money they're going to make.
I'm gonna go to Elon in Fremont when he's here next weekend and be like, "What's up, bro? Let's talk." I always say
At
that.
least give me a free month or something, man.
It's just it's insane, dude. They act like they want us to go touch grass, but in reality, they want us on our phones all day long. It makes them
Hmm.
more money. It makes their advertisers more money. Forget TV, be on social media. Like what? And I'm perpetuating it by putting hour and a half long interviews on the platform. You know what I mean? But like at least we're getting to know about people in the community. But
Right.
dude, I mental sanity's sake, like I said, 4 years of doing this in a full-time capacity as far as social media and Twitter is concerned, like it was morning and at night I would check my notifications. Now it's in the morning, and now it's kind of like when I get to it because I don't make money from notifications. I make money
Mhm.
from clients that keep coming back for guitar lessons and mixing lessons and podcast slots and X, Y, and Z things, but not to reply to people's tweets, bro. Like that's
Right.
insane. Like my time is worth more than probably the half a cent an hour that you're making replying to people's tweets. Like I
Yeah,
just
no doubt. And plus, it's like, you know, I feel like the more time you spend on Twitter, the more it shapes your perception of the world around you as like filled with vitriol and people that are disgruntled. And it's like, in reality, if you go outside, like people aren't that mad. Dude, like people are pretty cool.
we're
Just
pretty
like go
nice.
outside.
It's wild. And it's the world we live in. It's what we grew up on. I was talking to my sister about it recently. Like I'm 33. So I've been living with social media since I was like 21, like being big into it, like using it every single day. Before that, it was like MySpace and Facebook, I guess a little bit, but like Instagram is when it became like a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like 2011. Instagram came out on my birthday in 2011, I believe. And so like, yeah, I'm used to it, but also I know a life without it. Like I know a life of playing with kids outside, like playing basketball with your friends. Like I know that life too, and that life is way more fun. But we're all just so
Yeah.
used to like, oh, gotta check my phone. Like, oh no, 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 no. Like that didn't
Yeah.
exist when we were kids, bro. Like that was not a thing. We were so in
Yeah.
the
No, that's
moment.
the thing, you know. I play in like a men's baseball league, and
Yeah.
it's just really nice like to get outside. I was talking to Augie about this, you know, like it's just such a different experience because you're coming together with people who not only like, you know, growing up I played a lot of baseball, but it was kids who were doing it to go to college, or in college it was because, you know, we needed to do it to pay for school, or because we got, you know, whatever, we were chasing this dream. Now it's people who just choose to do it because they love the sport. You know, they're taking time out of their day twice a week to come together and do this, and it's like, you know, I get to have physical interactions with people, blow off some steam, like be a guy, you know, get to do dude shit in the dugout and talk shit and like have fun, play baseball. You know, it's great.
Right. It, it's just freaking the internet, bro. Shout out to Childish Gambino because of the internet.
Yeah.
But bro, internet's been a thing since 1993.
Mm.
That's wild. It just wasn't worldwide adopted until like those AOL CDs of free trial internet in like 1999.
Yeah.
I was nine.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you were, but
I
it
was
was
one.
true. This was the office. This was our office back in the day. I remember the dial-up tone and everything. Like your mom would get on the phone and you'd have to get off the internet. Like
Yeah.
get off the internet. It was wild. And now it's just at our fingertips anytime we want it. Those dopamine hits, those notification rushes, like we a lot of us, especially with this monetization stuff, we live for it. Like now I'm making
Hmm.
from this, and this is my people's job is to be on live all day long.
Yeah.
Not saying they don't get human interaction, but I'm just like were we designed to be this way, like living through screens? Is this
Yeah,
how the human condition is supposed to be? Because I don't think it is. I don't think we're supposed to have this much interaction with human beings actually on a daily basis.
we're definitely not built to take in this amount of information on a daily basis.
And we're
And I
starting
feel
to
like
see
it's
the
way too much
downfall
to
of it.
process. Yeah. I mean, that's
If
why
you have
everybody's
mental
in
maturity, it's a little
ADD
bit
and they can't do
easier,
it.
but there's some kids that are getting eaten alive by this culture, and their
Oh,
whole
yeah. I mean,
tone is based off the internet and memes.
because they don't have that experience that you have of not
And
having the internet. It's just their whole life is like being connected to the entire world rather than being connected to the five other kids on their block.
and that's not to say that I haven't seen like healthy, like I have a niece and nephew, and yeah, they like to
Mm.
watch their TV like I did as a kid, but like they probably won't have phones until they're a little bit older. I didn't have one until I was like 15 and had my first job, like real job.
Yeah.
Not me mowing the lawns because I am from a Latino heritage and my dad was like, go make that money. But yeah,
It's
that was
compulsory.
what's
Yeah.
up?
That's compulsory work right there
Yeah, yeah.
as a Latino.
Yeah, bro, it was the neighbor. It wasn't even that crazy. It started from like that's kind of like where my entrepreneurial hustle came in. It was like I would mow the lawns, and then I don't remember even how it came about. I was probably just like, I want a t-shirt or something. And my dad's like, go make that money, son. Like, go knock on the neighbor's door. That was the
Yeah.
scariest part, was having to ask him. And then he was like, yeah, come every Tuesday at noon or whatever in the summer. And then his dad was there one day and I think I tried to mow the lawn twice in 1 week instead of once in 1 week. And the dad was like, whoa, 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 because I was trying to like get a new game or something, right? So I was trying
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
more money. And he's like, no, you're cutting it too short. I never went back to that neighbor's house ever again. Terrified.
Don't mess with my money, man.
It wasn't even him, it was his dad who was there for some reason. I don't know why. Just like,
Damn,
oh, you're cutting it
that's
too
crazy.
short. And I was like, I didn't know how to adjust the blade height or whatever.
Cutting it too short.
Wild. It was wild. Like,
That's a ridiculous complaint.
I, shout out to the white man, bro, keeping the brother down.
They do love their lawns.
I mean, we love our lawns. We're Mexican and Guatemalan, but like, I don't know, bro. It was just wild. Like, I learned at a young age how to make a dollar, and now it's just like pay your bills, make your money, move on. Like, yes, I like my things, but I'm a single young man with no responsibilities like to other people anymore. So I just get to do what I want until the time comes when somebody else comes along. Like, I don't know, music, money,
Yeah,
it's me.
I mean that's dope. There's a lot of liberty in that.
There is, but there's a lot of there's we gotta teach financial literacy when it comes to making your own money in music because you just want to always flex.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's what we've seen by all the rappers. Is like, well, they got chains. I want chains. Like they got this brand. To my like point though, I was into these brands at 15 years old. It was before I ever saw a rapper on the internet or social media wearing it. So I'm just
Mm.
buying. I'm fulfilling my childhood dreams at this, which I think is but yeah, no, I don't know, man. It just music and money, it's an interesting paradigm when you're doing it totally independent and there's no labels. You got to figure out how to get it yourself as many different ways as you can because things can switch up from week to week. You might have people who are
Mm.
not interested in that service that week, and then next week all of a sudden they are. I don't know why. You just got to kind of go with the flow when it comes to this to an extent. Of course, there's email lists and there's repeat clients and X, Y, and Z, but I'm just kind of getting my feet wet with the full the full-time aspect of it again because I was taking care of grandma and grandpa for like the last 2 years, right? So
Mm.
that's not to say I didn't have clients still coming in on a weekly basis. It's just I wasn't pushing to find new clients nearly as much as I used to. I there used to be a lot more tweets back in the day where it was like $25 mixing work today only, like like all that kind of stuff. And I just because I had a paycheck coming in consistently through the county to take care of my grandparents, it's like, yeah, I was able to live paycheck to paycheck, and then music money was the fun money, which was great. But um, it's just going back into the mindset of like, all right, I got to get out there and mow that lawn every single day to make that money. Like, where's it going to come from? The lawns are out there. You just got to go find them and talk to the people and see if they're interested in you mowing them.
Yeah. No,
Some people say
it's a
no.
hustle for sure. Yeah.
Some people say no. It's DM warfare. That's how I like to put it back in the day. Like you hit DMs and you hit up every single person who likes your tweet about your new guitar kit or about your mixing work or about your marketing program, and you just see if it's a yes or a no. And if it's a no, I always try to leave them with something for free. Like, oh, here's a free version of the kit, or you know, anybody that you send my way, like I'll give you a little referral cut for, because I appreciate it. I'm not gonna knock the followers or the fans or the friends that I've made on the internet that help keep me going. Like, no way. It's always got to be love shown back. Always. That's just who I am as a person. So that's why I think I like you guys all so much, because you guys always show love to everybody in the community, regardless, which is cool
Yeah,
to see.
yeah. I mean, we want to see everybody succeed, but we always talk about the fact that yeah, it's inherently a competition against other people, but it's healthy competition where you respect each other. It's like we're fighting for the starting spot on the team rather than trying to beat the other team, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, I want to outperform you just because that helps me elevate my craft, but I'm still going to boost your stuff and like tell you it's dope and try to promote it if I think it's cool.
And I think for me, where I get in trouble in a good way is I don't even care if I think it's cool. If I like them as a person, I'm gonna support it. I'm gonna
Mm.
be like, look, man, like of course constructive criticism is a thing, but if you're just looking for support on this and we have that relationship, all you got to do is send me a text and I'll probably retweet it for you. You know what I mean? Like, and then the flip side of that, people I don't have a relationship with will come in my DMs and be like, how much for a retweet? And I'm like, well, hold on there. Like, like, not that I won't take money for a retweet, but let me listen to it, see if there's something
Right.
I can identify with that I want to share on my platform, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not everything is going to be perfect. We're all still learning and stuff, but
And
I
that doesn't
do
make
I
us
do like
either,
the
right?
idea of maintaining a meritocracy. I feel like the quality should bring things to the forefront rather than the politics.
Yeah. But once again, all we're growing up seeing in hip hop is 50 Cent and Eminem beefing when they're on the same label, just
Yeah, that's facts.
endorse
That's
more
facts.
album sales. You know what I mean? Like it's not real. Like,
Mm,
which
that
I
is
will
like the
do all day
professional
long
wrestling
with my friends.
aspect. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I've talked about this before on here and I'll talk about it again. I straight up will text friends sometimes and be like, yo, like, what are we getting into this week on Twitter? Because we both have followings that we've built that don't know about each other. We've made music together. We can pretend like we're beefing about X, Y, and Z. And then it's hilarious. Like, and then you have the people who are like, oh, I think you guys are friends. And then you have the people who are just like, oh, why do you hate each other? You seem like you're such a kind, caring person. And then we're just, laughing because but that's not hurting anyone.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not being divisive in the truest sense of the word. That's just being friends on the internet.
No
But
doubt.
like
Yeah.
making diss tracks, like, okay, with friends, like I've had a few people make diss tracks against me. I don't even know why. I was just existing, and I never
I
spoke
think
to
I've
them.
seen those, yeah.
I've spoken to the people on the podcast and like made amends and friendships with some of them, but like
Mm.
I don't, bro. Like I always send a DM before I set up that podcast where it's like, do you actually hate me? And they're like, no, bro, I just hate your tweets, like your engagement tweets. And I'm like, okay, well, if you don't hate me, we can talk. Like, that's fair. And they just try to perpetuate in the interview, which is fine because that's just the brand and the logo they're going for. I'm not, like I
Yeah.
said, man, most of this stuff, you talk to somebody face to face, it's probably not real. It's
Yeah,
probably
for sure.
probably just for internet clicks and engagement and oh whoops engagement, like yeah bro, that's why we're here. That's why a lot of people are here. They want more people to hear their music, they want to share it. Like that's kind of the point of this whole thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, those are the things that get traction because people are, there's a lot of charged emotion behind it. It's drama, it's, reality TV type shit. It's not the brand that I necessarily want to build. I build my brand around words and shit, being a
Yeah,
nerd. But
yeah,
yeah.
I make people angry for asking questions. That's okay. Sorry.
Stop being so inquisitive, dude. Why so
Yeah,
curious?
my childhood curiosity is just getting lambasted on the internet day after day. I don't search my name anymore because that's where the haters are, and then they can stay with that search because I don't go looking. It's nonsense. Like it's like they just get so mean. Like they start attacking
Mm-hmm.
and they start attacking my marriages, and I'm just like, yo, like you only know what I've allowed you to see through these songs and what I've shared briefly on the internet about. Like, you
Mm.
go on and keep DMing my ex my music. That's fantastic. I love that. Like, thank you for finding her and thank you for letting her
Yeah.
know there's a new release. I don't know what else to say to it besides that.
Thanks for the streams.
Yeah, shout out to the streams, bro. And then like eventually they'll get sick of it because they're like, this isn't even about me anymore. It's like, you're right, bro. That's 2 years old. Like you're talking about something
Mm.
that
Yeah.
stopped existing a long time ago. Um, but yeah, just once again, I think what you guys are doing in the community is great. I want to encourage it. Drama is drama and it's silly and dumb. I feel like it's something where like I don't know. I haven't seen you perpetuate too much of it either. It's just always you just stay focused on the brand, which is awesome. All I remember of
Yeah. I
seeing
mean,
your presence on the internet is snippets, your music,
mm.
just sharing music. That's pretty normal.
Well, I'll try to post more of them. That's that's good that it got all the way out to you. So
Well, how many
that's
how
tight.
many unreleased are you sitting on right now? I know you sent some to me. I gotta check out still.
Well, I've got a little 3 pack that I'm looking to drop here in the next couple of weeks. Beyond that, Sparky and I have been working on a project, kind of putting back together the pieces from that other collaborative endeavor that I was pursuing for a while there. Other than that, I've got a bunch of stuff coming down the pipeline. I think total probably maybe 10 songs unreleased right now, and then a bunch of other stuff that needs to be written. But I'm looking to drop, I think, 3 or 4 EPs this year.
Jeez. What's your favorite song that's released that we should check out?
That's released. It's got to be the one with Sparky Snail Mode. I think that's my best effort to date.
What inspired that title?
It was because it was the night that Uggy released the Moss and the Sauce, and he was doing his first marinade the day after that. And Sparky was like, "Yo, do you want to make a song sampling the Moss and the Sauce?"
Um,
And I was like, "Hell yeah!" So we turned around in like 24 hours, and because it was sampling Uggy, we called it Snail Mode.
Wait, or Snail? Okay, because I know the gnomes as far as his brand is concerned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uggies. It's the few months that I've been paying attention to him more. Um, Snails too are in there.
Yep. Gnomes, beans, snails, mushrooms. That's Uggy.
And then skating, and then guitar, and then rapper,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
singer and producer.
That's right.
I think I've got
Flautist.
gist.
Yeah.
Oh, and then beer for sure. The
Mm,
the
that's
the
definitely one of
Miller
them.
High Life.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And then Canada, and then me being like, what the heck does this guy do with his life? In the most positive sense. I don't mean any shade when I say that. I just look at,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sure that's the same way people look at me like, bro, just freaking take videos all day and tweet all day. Like, that's his life. Man, there's a lot more that's going on in the background. But
Mm,
like I said, the tweeting ain't making me money, bro. I mean, I got one of my homies who is under the impression he's the guy who got me my start on this Twitter account by finding the engagement groups for me. Paid him like 20 or 30 bucks end of 2019. And he's like, I got you. And he wasn't paying for followers. He was just finding real people to engage me within the community. He's convinced that I'm making money off of Twitter. I'm like, bro, there's no money from these words. Like, I wish, but no. I'm not replying enough for 5 million impressions. That's insanity. I get like one or two a month on a good month right now. And I'm
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, you have a
Yeah.
huge platform. I don't know if I could handle it at the scale you do. Like I understand limiting your notification checking.
That and just like the fake drama. I don't know. It's very weird. You know why? Because I have to check myself mentally because like today I had a moment when I was having lunch with my nephew. I took him to McDonald's and I was like, wait a minute. I used to dream of days like this where I could do this in the middle of a day on a Thursday. Like when I was in the union working doing air
Yeah.
conditioning, which is what like I grew up seeing my dad do and stuff. Like I would be miserable after work, like waiting for my wife to come home, like having to like pick her up from the train station and stuff. I'd have like an hour or two on some days where I got to chill with the family before going home with my wife. And I just remember being so like stressed and like paranoid about the next day or anxiety ridden about work just because I hated it and I never wanted to do that. But I found myself in a position where I needed to work and it was good money. Um, And I remember like going out to dinner one time with my mom and my nephew. He was like 3 or 2. And I just remember being so stressed about the next day I couldn't enjoy the moment. And then today
Yeah.
it's Thursday at 11:30 and I'm having lunch with him and I'm like, wait a minute, no boss. Like, I'm not saying I'm rich, but like he's like, what do you do for work? And I'm like, he's like, why do you always have calls with people? And I'm just like, that's my job. And he's like, do you have a boss? And I'm like, I am the person I always wanted to be. And it's
Yeah.
hard to remember that in the moment when we're stressed about the future or where money's going to come from or whatever, because of the choices that I've chosen to make with the career that I'm still pursuing. And like, but the time freedom in those moments that like where I get to look back and be like, you know what, like the Josh from freaking 2018 would be like, dude, good job, like you're making it happen still and you're still pushing for it. Like those are the moments where, in retrospect, I'm like, cool, this is worth it. But like, get back to work. Where's the next lawn?
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely an inspiration to all the guys like me, looking at you guys and the platforms that you've built and, being able to live a life off doing something that you love. It's really inspirational.
Yeah, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, but um, for the most part, we make it work. And like I said, when I see like Uggy and stuff, I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, bro's killing it. Like, and I'm not gonna speak against anything else because I don't know his whole situation, just like the rest of the world doesn't know mine, right? And I think he's
Mhm.
doing an awesome job in the community supporting it, and just bringing people together. If you notice too, he doesn't get too involved in all the stuff that goes down on the timeline. Like
That's why he's the snail, because he's
slow
a slow
moving.
burner. He
He's just
just
like,
he just
let's
likes to watch
create.
and see and let the chips fall. And
And he
yep.
might throw in a comment here or there, which is fair because loyalty to friends, I understand it. But yeah, he has always been a super cool dude to me. And even like I said this week when I was like, yo, like, look, can I get in the Discord? I texted him and you sent me just like back when you joined, right? Just got sent it right away. And same old dude, just playing his music, hanging out with his friends, and living his life. So it's awesome to
Yeah,
see.
no, he's the homie for sure. I call him Uncle Uggy.
I got a friend in Florida. We'll work on my friend's album like every 4 or 5 months. He'll rent us an Airbnb in LA. And so he'll fly my friend or my friend Chris will fly out from Florida. He's like 23, 24. He calls me Unc.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah. Some people just have that energy, man. Like you look up to him a little bit, they teach you shit.
I
That's the
guess.
kind of relationship I feel like I have with him. He's a really
Yeah.
cool friend to me, but he's a little older and wiser than me. He gets to lay the path in some ways that I get to learn from his experiences. So
I feel like he's like a modern day hippie, if that's fair to say. I don't want to
yeah, I
and
would say that's fairly accurate.
like that's like a sage or something like wise. Like that's just the persona from talking to him on the podcast a little bit and just seeing how he interacts. He's got the whole the person I remember doing it the most on the internet was Young Thug for sure with the way he types and tweets and like texts and stuff. He's got
Mm.
his own lingo. And I'm like,
Yeah,
bro,
he does.
he is
Yeah.
so fully immersed in this world that he's created. He is
Oh,
this
yeah.
person and there's nothing else, which is
Yeah.
so cool to see.
It's a very strong brand, but it's authentic to himself, which I think
Oh
is
yeah,
it's cool.
100%. Like
I mean, that's the only way you can maintain a brand like that. You couldn't maintain it if you're not actually
no,
living that persona.
he's been into all of this stuff, I feel like long before he presented it to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like this like magical, whimsical, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like my gosh, like Lord of the Rings and stuff. What is it? Like
Yeah,
fantasy,
like
like this
fantastical.
fantasy
Yeah.
world that he's created, he's living in it. The other person that I could think that did that successfully, the way I see like you doing it successfully, is like Tyler the Creator. Was very similar
Yeah.
in his approach and like his viewpoint of the world. So given the trajectory or the trajectory of Tyler, it seems like Uggy's going the right direction. Like just building worlds, which is super. Like 21 Pilots has done that very, very well. And their fan base that's dedicated and hardcore know every single aspect of the lore. And like Uggy is building
yeah.
this.
Yeah, I mean that's the stuff that creates sticky customers, just that's my
Yeah,
marketing brain turning on. But
yeah.
that's the stuff that makes me want to come back. And I see it, my girlfriend's a huge Swiftie. That's the reason she keeps coming back, because she's like, yo, did you see that this line references
Third
this album from 13
version.
years ago? And like everything's like a symbol and a puzzle, and it's cool to see her get into it.
Yeah, the diehards have that these days, just these universes that their fans live in, you know.
Mhm.
And yeah, the more I see, like I'll see like the gnome pic, like the pic, like the screenshots of the gnome stuff that he like shares, and he's
Yeah.
just, and I'm just like, what, gnomes? Now I'm like, snails? Like I feel like I'm watching like a Lord of the Rings like cartoon movie. Like that's kind of like the vibe, or like a Disney thing, like from back in the day. I'm just
Mhm.
like, I don't understand what's going on, but I like it. I keep on paying attention when
No
I'm
doubt.
just like, this guy's posting gnomes, like, and then he's asking us about gnomes. Like, I'm confused, but I'm also here for it. And now I'm listening to his music more and I'm watching his snippets more. And it just like engages you into this community that you didn't even know existed. It's like this secret underground world, but then he'll send anybody the invite link that asks for it.
Yeah, yeah. That it's really cool. It's a cool brand. It's gotten to the point where if I see a snail meme or a picture out in the world, I just send it to him. I'm like, you can do something with this.
The marketing machine is working on his. That's wild, bro. I don't know how it's even the thought of me thinking about how to incorporate that into my brand is a foreign thought. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. But Um, I've made some wild artwork. I shared it to the timeline today. I used to do the stuff on Snapchat. I had like this $75 like pen to be able to use the drawing tool on Snapchat on your phone, and just like
Mm.
this insane, crazy abstract artwork. And like I would do that every day, or I would Sharpie art. Like I had a mural like the size of this wall back in the day of like all mine and my friends' art, like all that stuff, like to inspire, like because I always wanted to turn that stuff into like the clothing brand and then learning Illustrator. So like there is so much more artwork that goes on in my mind than I share to the timeline, but that's all part of the process. So like Uggy seems to have pulled it all. He's like the gnomes, the snails, what's the beans? What's that?
Yeah.
Is that
Bro, I don't know. I have no idea. It's just funny. I don't know.
like
If there is a reason, I haven't been given it yet, but
you have not been
I
fully
guess it's
brought
because
into the
it's
fold.
like a foundation of sauce, maybe like chili sauce. There's
SOSS.
something there, I think.
Even the way the spelling of the word is his own thing.
Hmm.
It's just I don't. He's like this wise sage father of Twitter. That
That's why I
his
have his
own
notifications off. Yeah.
relentlessly. I've that part of Buggy I have seen on the internet where he goes to bat for all you guys, regardless of what the opposition is saying in those ways. But it's like a dad, like a father figure almost.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he would
Him holding
deny
his
it, but
staff. I don't know if
yeah.
that
Yes.
very
Yeah. I
Gandalf
need him
quote.
to like grow out
Fucking
his
cool.
beard or something, get all
Oh,
Gandalfy.
dude, his hair is so long.
It is, yeah.
His hair is
It's
insane. I'm
dope.
sitting here like I'm like, bro, like this is like it's long on top. It's finally getting long on the sides, but I'm just like, how? How does and he's got the
It's crazy
circle
patience.
glasses.
Hmm. Yep. The like translucent ones.
That,
Shit's dope.
yeah. Dude, it was wild when we did the interview. I didn't notice until way after I posted it. Somebody was like, "Oh, he's got his phone in front of his face because he was on. We were on Spaces when we did it at the same time, Space." And I was
Okay.
like, "Oh, like I thought he was using it as a microphone, but I was like, that wouldn't make sense. You can't go on Space with your computer. Like,
Yeah, I
talk,
was wondering what that was, why he was doing that too.
just more talking points. Look, it's been months since I interviewed the man, and it comes up just like the allure. Like I don't know. I don't even think he tries though. I think it's just him. It's
Yeah,
just
that's what I'm saying. It's just authentic. It's dope as hell.
yeah. So we all got to start wearing glasses now, growing our hair out, and being sage wizards of Twitter. X.
Hmm. Oh right. We'll get deboosted because we called it Twitter. God damn
Mm. Maybe
it.
maybe that's why I get less interaction when I say Twitter in the tweet. They're like, no, the disrespect. It's X, and if you don't call
Yeah.
it less,
That's why I starred out the I in it today when I made that like word of the
did
day
you?
post. Yeah. I'll
So
do that for like if I ever have to put
you
like
are
a swear or something, I'll just, star out one of the letters so it's not
you
getting
are
hit by that.
already beginning your own branding and your own words, my son. LG support this. You guys
Yep.
in a
In the
year, all you guys are gonna be tweeting your own way, and everybody's just gonna be understanding it, and they're gonna be like, "This is amazing. This is
hell
cool."
yeah.
People,
I'm
yeah.
looking forward to it.
Even Maddie, like, I feel like her name needs an extra D or like an extra I or something, but no, it's. And I've
Hmm.
been called out by her on the timeline. She's like, adding an E is wild, and I'm like, I'm sorry for like adding an extra D. I'm like, don't crucify me. Do not screenshot me to your followers, please. They already hate. You know what's
That would
funny?
have to be
The
two extra
hate in the
D's. It would have to
comments is
be,
real. Like what
yeah.
she's saying is not, but then the people will be like, "Yeah, I always hated that guy," and I'm like,
Yeah. It's
"Maddie,
like,
you're."
damn.
And she's like, "I'm
Yeah, she's got a
sorry,"
lot of pull.
but
It's
then she
crazy.
also was like kind of mad, like not at me in particular, but like when she commented on my video, like how you always eating but not gaining weight, like
Hmm.
that's a compliment, like saying like, "How are you not fatter?"
Yeah.
Right? Like, or I guess
Yeah.
whatever, like you're what, right? And then she's like, she texted me, and she's like, "I got to be careful," and she's like, "I'm not tweeting on your stuff anymore because they're after me," and I'm like, "Nobody's after you, bro. Just don't say that, I guess. Like we're learning what we can and can't say on the platform. Thank God she appealed it and it was done in like 2 hours. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like any reasonable person would look at that and understand it, but it's probably a bot monitoring it. So that's why they don't understand the connotation.
I hope. I hope nobody like reported that because that would just be wild. Like the stuff we're fed versus what we're getting our hands slapped on these days on the platform,
Yeah.
huge disparity. Like there's some nonsense on the timeline, like at all times, depending on who you follow.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was wild. But I've had other people like I don't know, followers can be wild on all ends. So I'm not tripping on it. I've had girls that I've met on Twitter and stuff that I'm friends with, and they've texted me and they've been like, I gotta be careful, like interacting with you because if it's something your followers don't like, they're gonna lambaste me under my posts for it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I do not claim any of these people because most of the time I don't even follow them back. And if they
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like it's probably going to be an unfollow, and I'm very hard to get an unfollow from. So pretty easy going. Like if they're following me, I'll probably just follow people back at this point. But that's the part of the internet I don't like. And like it's like it is what it is with building a fan base. Like if you're just like being in touch with people on a regular basis and they're starting to feel weirded out by people that follow you but don't support you, I'm like, yeah, it's a no from me, dog. Like you're gonna get a
Mm.
quick follow. Like, why are you roasting a girl? Like, leave her alone.
Yeah, for real.
They get it the worst though on the internet, like for
Yeah,
sure.
they do. They really do.
Feel bad for them. There's oh my god, bro. Like it's just it's it's unreal. And then you start like hanging out with more women, and you're like, this is how you're treat. This is how you're DM like on a regular. What? Like I am so
Yeah.
tame compared to all these scoundrels in the streets. I'm just like, how's your day going? And they're just like the things I would do, and I'm like, well, you relax, sir. You need your mother or something. I don't know what's going on, but you cannot slide this way. Like
That's probably a lot of it. Yep. Some mommy issues in there, but
it's a lot. This is not a therapy podcast. We will not go there. But yeah. Anyways, with that being said, it's been like an hour and a half. Is there anything you want to share with the people? Tell the people, let know what's going on, what's coming next. Marketing plug, bro. Get that SEO.
yeah, I mean, stay tuned for more Spark and Sam's. We're dropping that EP soon. Look out for a triple shot 3-song EP with worldwide beats. That should be coming out soon. And just keep an eye out on the
Worldwide.
timeline. Yeah. He sent me some really dope stuff, and I picked out some beats that I liked. I think we got something cool cooking up, so that should be out here pretty soon. Other than that, head over to the Marinade because Huggy's about to stream right now, and I got a new song actually from the 3-song EP that's going to be on there. So
Is he literally about to stream like right now? Like
yeah, started at 5,
okay.
or
I'll stream at
I
5.
don't know what time that is for you. 2 o'clock, I guess.
Oh, he's no, he's 2 hours ahead, huh? It's 2:30 for me right now.
Okay. I think he's Eastern time.
Oh,
Not
Eastern.
positive.
So in 20 minutes. Guys, I know you're not seeing this nearly up to date, but if you shout out to you guys. Well, all right, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Maybe I'll jump in there if I got some time. I don't know. I can check the notifications, see if what's going crazy in my world, but I'm sure there's something. Um, but no, I appreciate the time, man, and I'll definitely have to keep checking out the stuff because I've liked what I've heard so far, and I definitely want to check out this unreleased. So that's probably what I'm gonna do right now before I leave the room, and shoot you a text back. But I appreciate the time and you spending time to talk, and thanks for bringing your stuff to the world, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate the opportunity. It's nice getting to know you, have a good conversation. I'm looking forward to hearing more of your stuff too, and possibly working together in the future.
Oh yeah, no, we'll for sure work on some stuff. Yeah, you said you spun the new project. I appreciate that for sure because
No doubt, man.
it's always cool when other artists support each other. I think that's like one of the coolest things for sure. So I'll be talking to you, man. I'll be seeing you on the timeline.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Hope you have a good
Later, bro.
rest of your day.
You too.